I actually grew up on this farm, and when I was growing up, it was just a hobby farm. My grandma bought this property in the 70s. I grew up here doing 4-H projects, like showing sheep, showing chickens at the Boulder County Fair. We had a little vegetable garden, and so it was just kind of like a family homesteading farm. And I moved out of here when I was in high school. It was like most kids that grew up on a farm. I was anxious to get out of town and went to school in Dallas for 5 years, came back to Colorado because I realized how much I missed Colorado. And that time I met Kenna, and we started our family. And my grandma had still been living at the farm during all that time. And when she started to get ill, we decided to move back to the farm, Kenna and I and our 2 older girls, to take care of my grandma. And so we moved in with her here and wanted to put a little garden in the backyard just so my kids could grow up with having vegetables around like I did when I was a kid. And we got chickens and sheep, and the next thing you know, we put a lot bigger garden than we really even needed for ourselves. So we were giving food to family and friends and neighbors, and they said, come on, you should take it to the farmer's market and things like that. And so we started just for fun going to a few different small farmers markets, and then all of a sudden just realized that we're really passionate about being able to have good food and be able to supply good food to our neighbors. And so we launched Ollin Farms as a business after that.
It's been a process, and first we started like, oh, we want to grow something for us, and then it became more passion. Right now we're at the point that we want to grow the most healthy food in Boulder County, and that's where we are right now. I'm from Mexico City. Aztecs used to live around that area, and Ollin, it's a Nahuatl name that means that something is moving slow in constant motion every day. So that's the farm. A little plant born every day, something die every day. It's constant movement. So that's what Ollin means.
Like no 2 days on the farm are ever the same.
They're not the same.
Constant motion. So we owned 6 acres that when I moved back here with my grandmother, and we started farming that area. Luckily, there's a lot of Boulder County open space all around us, and so there was a need for us to get bigger, and there's more demand for our vegetables. We signed an ag lease for some of the open space land. And so basically it's public land that's owned by Boulder County residents, and we're the stewards of that land by having the ag lease on it. We're the ones taking care of the land, enriching the soil, maintaining the wildlife, and are basically the stewards of the land. And so we started leasing 4 acres adjacent to our own property about 3 or 4 years ago, and then shortly after that there was another big 15-acre parcel right in the back of us across the creek that became available through Boulder County Open Space, and so we signed a lease on that, and now this year we'll be growing about 7 acres of vegetables on that property as well. It's kind of interesting that the 6 acres that we own in these 2 other open space parcels were one 30-acre dairy farm back in the 1940s, 1950s. So through our land and our leases, we've been able to kind of reunite this piece of agricultural history of this Longmont area back underneath one farm again, and it's really meaningful to me to be able to, there's so much farmland being lost all around Boulder County, to be able to kind of restore some of it, I think is a powerful thing.
We started with a little garden on the back, and then we moved to the front of the house when we decided, okay, let's go to a little market and see what happens. So we used to take, I don't know, like 10 cucumbers, like, I don't know, 20 tomatoes, little by little, going from a little box with all our produce, and then now we need the van and another trailer to put all the coolers. So that's the growth, you see it in the volume, in the quantity, in the amount of people that now we know a lot of people. They became our customers first, but now they're our friends. So we are building community, and I think that's very important in the growth of the farm. You have it inside, when you want to share your culture or something, it becomes educational. So we start growing things like, why we don't grow those things? Or in Mexico you can eat the flowers of the calabaza, of the zucchini flowers, and I don't see nobody sell them here. Things like that. It's been a growth in education, in sharing cultures, sharing recipes, a little bit of everything.
This year we're growing 200 varieties of 30 different vegetables, and each one of those vegetable varieties have their own distinct planting cycle, temperatures they germinate well at, whether or not they can take a frost, whether or not they can take the heat of the summer, whether it's better to direct seed them into the ground, whether it's better to start a plant inside of the greenhouse or inside of the barn in the spring. And so understanding all of those cycles and coming up with a crop plan, which is what we do a lot of times in December and January, is come up with a kind of distinct crop plan. This is when we're going to start all of our tomatoes. This is where we're going to start this. And with the hoop houses, it adds just another element. So in January, we're starting to seed lettuce in the greenhouses in order to transplant that out in February, and that grows in the hoop houses even through the snows in March, and we have product for the April markets. And then the field stuff will start the warm season stuff in March, like tomatoes, chilies, peppers. We have heated greenhouses, either on the farm or other local greenhouses that we contract to grow some of our warm season starts. And so they start those in March, and we know about mid-May those are all going to be ready to get out in the field and transplant. The root crops, most everything that are root crops, we direct seed with our little push seeder, and don't do much transplanting on those items. It's all direct seeded. Most of our mixed greens are a lot of like the lettuce mixes direct seeded. Some of the kales and charge are transplanted. So kind of coming up with those systems and those cycles is what has really been both the challenge and also really fun and exciting part of farming. So I got into farming mainly from the water side. My background is in environmental engineering and water resource engineering. And when I first started the little hobby garden, it was all about how much food can we grow using the minimal amount of water. That's why we use a lot of the drip irrigation and just water plants right at the plant root. And so it's kind of science that brought me into farming, and really it's going to be science that keeps me in farming, because my new passion and love around farming is soil and the soil science and the soil food web. And really understanding that the nutrition of our bodies is directly related to the nutrition of the plants, which is directly related to the nutrition of the soil. And it all starts in the soil. So everything that we do is to manage the biological life in the soil. Everything is life promoting, where a lot of conventional agriculture is nature fighting, whether it's pesticides or trying to kill bugs, herbicides trying to kill the bad weeds. And there's even organic pesticides and herbicides. It's still the same mentality of trying to fight nature. And the biological farmer, on the other hand, is always trying to promote nature and realizing that ultimately nature has the answer. So our soil system really starts every year with the soil sample. We go out with a soil probe, take a probe into the soil, get a sample of soil, and we send it to a lab where we get an analysis of all the minerals in that soil. We use biological inoculants, where we use actual mycorrhizal packages that can kind of inoculate the soil.
So at the end, the nutrition of the soil for simple humans that we don't understand all the chemistry is just in your taste, in your mouth. Customers come and they tell us, hey, what do you do to your vegetables? They last a long time in the refrigerator. They taste amazing. You can feel it, you can taste it. So that's the nutrition in the plant.
So the CSA, it stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and it's kind of a new way of thinking around how to source local food. And then what it is people from the community, families, can actually buy a share in a local farm, and they pay at the beginning of the year for their whole summer's worth of veggies. And they come out to the farm every week, and at our farm, we kind of have it set up like a little farmer's market display. And there's a little board on the wall that says what's in the share that week, and they go through and they pick up whatever's in the share. And so it lasts 21 weeks to the end of May through the kind of middle of October. And just a great program because every week is different. There's always 6 or 7, 8 items in the shares each week, and there's always new things getting introduced that probably people haven't tried before. So as part of the CSA, they're getting a lot of their favorite things, but they're also getting introduced to a lot of new items that with 200 varieties of crops that we grow, there's a lot of things they probably never tried before, different kinds of beets, different kinds of carrots, different kinds of lettuces, and especially all the different kinds of tomatoes that we grow. And so every week there's a newsletter that goes out that says this is what's in the share. If there's something kind of odd or different, we'll have a little history of that vegetable and how to, and maybe some recipe ideas. And there's also updates of what's going on in the farm. People really like to stay connected with what's going on with the farm because they are technically a shareholder of the farm. Is they're part of the farm for that summer. And it's great because people from the community really kind of feel like take ownership in the farm. Like, oh, you see them out in the community, like, oh, hey, I'm in your CSA, or you're my farmer, I'm part of I'm a shareholder at the farm. So it's really great, especially with seeing the youth being able to come out to the farm. So many of our CSA members, young family members, and they bring their little kids out, and it's just amazing to me to see how much some of them already know about all the different kinds of vegetables. And then if there's a choice between carrots or beets that week, oh, I want these kind of beets, or I want these kind of carrots, or oh, good, there's kale again. Just to see how much these kids know by being in the CSA program and being able to come out to the farm every week is just really astounding to me. That they're going to grow up with all that knowledge and all of how to healthy eating and how to eat healthy within a household. Traditionally, farmers every year would go to the bank and get a line of credit to get financed to buy the seeds and do all the spring work and get labor to get the season going, and they work their tails off all year long and to pay off the loans by the end of the year. And so through the system, the farmers are able to go directly to the community, and the community says, I'm going to support this farm for the year and become a shareholder, and then that's how they get the financing at the beginning of the season to get all the whole system up, order all the seeds and get everything rolling. So it's really a beautiful concept that the community steps up to support the farmers that are going to be providing food for them for the whole year.
I think one of the most amazing things that we are doing is trying to present to the families a healthy option. We have a lot of families that, we are trying to eat more vegetables. This is being amazing. A lot of people is like, you have a lot of new things that we have never even knew they exist, or the flavor. We share recipes and the kids come and they get to touch the vegetables. I love that part. When a kid can come and just touch them and they can see the plant that, this vegetable was in this plant like 2 hours ago. So they can see kind of the whole cycle, so they get to see the plant. Sometimes they go and visit the gardens, or, people is excited about what we're gonna get next week, what we're getting, so I can plan my menu for the week. So I think that's very, very good. People, I think, is going back to the roots, like start cooking in their houses. They come with the kids, so they get to, what do you want for dinner tonight? You want beets or carrots? So that interaction, I think, is very nice.
All right, get on my camera. How are you? Let's explore. Here we go. This smells so good.
You just gotta improvise. You just try anything. I try all things. You could have some garlic,
Salt and pepper and
salt, pepper, and then you can mix it in. You mix it with rice.
if you add some corn into the rice.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the seasoning because my son always picks out the vegetables and he gets very involved with what we're going to make. And we get to experiment with new recipes. And now they're weighing rocks. So the 2 pounds. Yeah, go boy.
So every Saturday from April to November now, we go out to the Longmont Farmers Market. That's our hometown market. It's 2 miles from the farm. And it's kind of our social event of the week. After working so hard on the farm, we go there to sell our produce, but we really go there to interact with all our customers and our friends and our neighbors. And it's great to get out in the community and see everybody and come to show off what we're harvesting that week. And it's always exciting on Fridays to get the crop list and the harvest plan and get everything together and get everything washed and ready to go to market and haul it over there in the morning and setting it all up. And
this is a red Russian kale, and putting it in these like lettuce type bags, and we go and put it in a washing machine where we put it on a spin cycle and spin the lettuce dry. We then put it in coolers, and then from the coolers we sell it.
I really enjoy the presentation side of the farmer's market and be able to make a big sack of carrots and big sack of beets and have all the greens out and display all the different colors of tomatoes later in the season. It's I think the presentation is kind of the artsy fun part of being a farmer. You can go out and really display everything that you're growing, and what better colors to work with than all the colors of nature, all the natural colors that we can grow from all the vegetables here.
We're here at the April markets, and this time of year is a lot of greens: spinach, lettuce, kale, our Asian mix, some arugula, and then the first of the field radishes are coming out, and a lot of rhubarb. But a lot of greens this time of the year in April. There's 13. Thank you. Thank you, Kylie. Enjoy.
Yeah, great. Thank you. This rhubarb looks awesome.
My name is Ruth. I live in Longmont. I try and come to the farmer's market every weekend. I love radishes. So nothing better than fresh radishes at the farmer's market.
My name is Emily and this is Nathan, and we like to come to the farmer's market for the fresh food and to support local farms. And we got rhubarb for some pie and radishes for some salads today.
I'm Stephen, and I come here every Saturday and have for years, and I love to come to Ollin Farms booth because they always have great vegetables.
It's kind of like the grand finale of the week. You harvest, you prepare, you get ready, and at the end it's always like, hi, do you have tomatoes? Or do you brought, I don't know, today they were asking for Asian greens. I don't see the Asian greens, so it's that interaction, people going and looking for you, for your produce, just to talk with you. Sometimes
In June, we got lots of root crops coming in: carrots, curry turnips, radishes. All the greens are still going. We got the first broccoli, sugar snap peas are harvested. It's starting to get busy.
I'll take one of those spinach if you're packing them in there.
This one is beautiful and tasty. Consistent is amazing.
Wyatt.
Hola, how are you? Some people like
Today we bought artichokes, heirloom tomatoes. We're going to make a fresh pasta sauce with it, so chop them up and have some homemade pasta, and it'll be dinner.
Hi, my name is Romaine, and I'm from Longmont by way of Philadelphia. And I've been here at Ollin Farms this morning buying my produce. I bought some Paris carrots, and I've bought some arugula, and I bought some broccoli, and I'm going to have a really good time with my vegetables.
it's little by little you meet people, and then you know, I've been thinking about you, I want you to know this person, so you kind of start building community. And I think that's, for me, food is always bring family together and community together. So farmers market is the right place for that. At the beginning of the season, we are just open once a week. By the season goes and we have more produce, we are open every day. Usually we're open every day from 10 to 6. And well, we grow what we sell what we grow. We have some other items. We support other local farmers. And people is so happy, you know. Our neighbors is like, I love to walk. A lot of people walk. You can see the families arriving in bicycles or with the dogs. They love that. Well, Mark and I, we met in the restaurant business. And sometimes I was like, oh, I miss talking with people, you know, interacting with the people every day and serving to people. So I think it was like the second year when we started farming. And why we don't do some dinners at the farm? It would be nice to start a concept, farm to table. I don't know, but that time probably one farm was already kind of doing something similar. And we knew we had an excellent product to offer and a beautiful place. And the first thing we thought is like, why we don't bring people together? Not like different tables, so everybody sit together in a table, everybody share. They don't know, but at the end of the day, I have seen people exchanging phones or cards. So it's very nice. So how it works is We have been partnering with a chef, local chef, and it's a concept from farm to table. He walks around and he decided, you know, this farm dinner we're gonna do it with these vegetables. So he built his menu, he programmed everything.
Looking at the onions that we're gonna have him harvest for the dinner.
They're so soft. Yeah, they're so good. I ate the stem.
Yeah, I would go down at least 4 inches.
It's a different concept. They can bring their own wine, so they walk through the farm, and we welcome them here on the back, and it's a nice moment. It's a little different. People like it. We have people that come every year, and it's nice because people get excited. Oh, summer is here! Farm dinner at Ollin Farms, and it's nice.
Well, there's catfish in the river, and they're sitting on the bottom. Cottonwood trees, Lord, 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 and they're throwing cotton. Tell it's goodbye to me. Whoa, hello summer day.
Hello everybody. Welcome. Just wanted to take a quick moment to welcome everybody to Ollin Farms and to the farm dinner tonight. And it's nights like this when everybody can come down and kind of enjoy the fruits of the labor that really make it worth it and make all those long hot days in the sun really worth it.
Appetizers over there, we did a hummus, grilled naan, olive oil and za'atar, grilled zucchini off of Mark's farm with smoked gruyere and pesto. We're going to pass some salads here pretty quick, some of Mark's lettuce mix, and just some Mediterranean fare as a garnish on that salad, some Kalamata olives, some artichokes, some red onions, and a Greek dressing. And then we made a quinoa tabbouleh. Basically all your same players in the regular tabbouleh that has the bulgur, but we've just put the quinoa and some of Mark's cherry tomatoes and cucumbers and garlic, lemon, and some fine olive oils. So we're going to do the chicken marabella, which is from Jodar Farms, an all-natural chicken that he brought me yesterday. We've braised it in plums, Spanish olives, red wine vinegar, olive oil, oregano, Spanish olives, and a little bit of brown sugar and white wine. It's a nice Greek dish with scalloped potatoes and hakuri turnip au gratin off of Mark's farm. And then we have the stuffed ronde-anise. It's a French heirloom variety squash that we've stuffed with all the beta mix, collard greens, spinach, kale, and chard, with a little Parmesan Reggiano and a little bit of ricotta. For dessert, we have some Palisade peach shortcake. We made some scratch shortbread biscuits, and we'll be serving that with a little blueberry garnish and some fresh whipped cream.
So the farm fresh salad is awesome. It's got a lot of taste. It's not bitter, and the mixture with the artichokes and the olives and the oils just make it wonderful on the palate. It's just awesome. Can't say enough about it. And now I'm going to take a bite.
Yeah, dinner is great. It's very fresh. You know, it all comes out of the farm, probably picked today, and you can taste it.
The best thing about the main meal is the squash. It is the most flavorful and well-presented squash dish I've ever eaten.
I'm gonna have a bite now, maybe I can shed some insight. Oh, it's really good.
So one of the things we realized really early on at the farm is it's not just about growing the vegetables. There's a big educational component to farming and to the new local food movement, especially around youth. There's so many kids that 1 or 2 generations ago that had a grandpa or an uncle that had a farm and they had a farm to go to. But now kids are 1 or 2 generations removed from a farm and they don't have that direct connection to a farm, or they don't really have that direct connection of how food is grown. And so that kind of became a big realization to us as we started farming and talking in the community, that a lot of people just are interested, but they don't really have an idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So from very early on, we really tried to incorporate the community onto the farm as much as possible, whether through the dinners or whether through our summer classes or whether through our festivals. There's a lot of ways, any way we can directly connect the community to the farm. I think there's an educational piece that really helps the farm thrive and helps the community thrive at the same time.
I was thinking already, like, we need to do something. With my daughters, for example, I was like, they need to go outside and touch the dirt, and I'm that kind of person that you need to get dirty, you know? And so the first summer class was 3 kids. After that, you know, all the ideas came. So it's a different concept. We talk about nutrition, we talk about healthy habits, we talk about farming. We go from the seed, and I tell them how magic a seed can be, because it can give us beauty or shade or food, and it goes all the way to the harvest. And chef, they'll come and cook with the kids at the end of the week. So it's a little, we have a lot of crafts and activities, so it's a little bit of everything. And the kids get a chance to run and feel free. So there are those things that at the end, the idea came. It's been well accepted by the community. We had a lot of kids that they come every year. When I came here, I started teaching Spanish. So we have the 2 concepts, the farming in English and the farming in Spanish. And people love them. Es amarillo, it's yellow. Leah.
Grapes.
Uva.
Not really. I'm done. Can I tell you the
So today we are going to do the harvest.
The sheep we raise them for wool and for meat and for pets, and they're both the sheep and the chickens are an integral part of the summer class program to teach kids about taking care of animals, and responsibility goes to animals and how they fit in with the system of the soil and the plants. So whenever we're done harvesting a row of broccoli, there's all those big broccoli plants there, and the kids will go out there and take all the broccoli plants out and put them in a wagon, take them, feed them to the sheep and the chickens, and so all those nutrients are being recycled back to the farm. And even faster than a compost pile is just give it right to the chickens and let them produce and eat it and make their own compost out of it. So the chickens we're mainly raising them for egg production. We have about 250 laying hens this year, and eggs is one of our most popular products. Just it's really hard to find a good egg at the grocery store. Sometimes you can occasionally find a good vegetable, but a good egg is hard to find, just because in order to raise a good egg, the chicken needs to access the outdoors, needs to be eating fresh greens, whether it's grass clippings or weeds from the garden that we take to the chickens every day, and they need to be out searching for bugs. And to do that on a commercial scale just isn't viable. So there's no commercial eggs that have that kind of high quality that you see from small family farms. everything is there for a reason. Everything serves a purpose, and it's kind of understanding those systems and why the animal's there, what function it's serving in the system, kind of adds to the beauty of the farm, and kind of looking at the farm in more of a bigger picture and seeing the whole ecosystem of the farm.
Gonna put them in a little basket, okay? So this is what we're gonna have for lunch today.
Let me pull it up and look at it. Tell me, what does that look like? That's an onion. There you go, good job. All right, let's take it back to the cart. We eat the part that grows underneath the ground. What's underneath the ground?
Radish, carrots.
That's a beet. Everyone's gonna grab 2 beets. Here's a big one right here. If you want to put your hand right around it and just pull it up. Biggest. That's a good one.
This is a big one. I got it.
Good job. You kind of wipe off the dirt and the grass like that. Wipe it off with your hand like that.
Wow, look at you.
Cabbage.
Wow, muy bien, Kenny.
Look at
One of the activities is our t-shirt. So this year was a promise 5. So each of the kids paint their hand and put in the shirt, and it's each finger they color a different color of vegetables. So a promise is that I'm gonna try to eat 5 different colors of vegetables every day.
These are the greens you picked. I'm just going to throw those in here, nice and washed, beautiful. I see I got some cucumbers here.
Who got the cucumbers?
Who got these?
Who got the cucumbers?
Good job. Hey, let's see, what else can I put in here? Maybe I'll put some beans. Who picked these? Everybody? What's everybody's favorite vegetable? What's your favorite vegetable?
a pea.
Really? And yours? Green beans?
Watermelon.
Watermelon? Taste that leaf. Taste that leaf. Tell me if it needs more dressing.
Yeah, I'm so hungry.
The kids are educating their parents. So there's this mom, you know, I don't know what did you do to my kid, but she's been asking for beets. I don't have any idea how to cook them. So can you please give me a bunch of beets and tell me how to cook those things, because I don't know. So things like that.
I grew up on a farm, and so when I was at the farmer's market and I saw this, I was excited for my kids to come. My daughter came last year as a birthday present, and she said it was her best birthday gift ever. And so she and her brother came back this year.
My daughter came because my wife thought this would be the coolest possible thing for a 4-year-old girl to be doing in the summer, and wanted her to have the experience of where the stuff comes from that they love to go to see on Saturday mornings at farmers market, which is, you know, the highlight of their Saturdays. I'm glad that she got to do that because, you know, I'm only 2 generations from the land, so I had plenty of experience. That land, while it still exists and the family isn't in production anymore, so I'm glad that there are local places where my little girl can feel the soil and pick the fruits of it.
Family farming in general is a challenge, and that's why we've seen over the last 30 or 40 years so many family farms go out of business, and the landscape of our food system and our physical landscape has changed dramatically, where there's just a lack of small family farms. And now we're kind of entering this phase where we're seeing a resurgence and a lot of youth returning to the farm and a lot of interest in local agriculture, which is exciting and excellent, but at the same time it's still the same challenges are faced. There's still extreme amounts of work, ridiculous hours sometimes, that you really dedicated your whole life to that job. There's no off days when you have animals on the farm that need to be fed every day. There's no easy vacations if you're in the market season and there's vegetables to be picked every day of the summer. So there's financial difficulties, obviously, with the high input costs of farming sustainably. There's a lot of regulations that are written for large food producers and large companies and large farms that are being applied to really small farms and make it very difficult for farmers to be able to get their food safely and effectively to consumers. There's a lot of hurdles we have to go through just in order to process our food in any way, whether it's juicing food or canning food or preserving food that's semi-processed food, and then we're in a whole other realm of regulation to get the whole value-added side of the farm going, which is essentially one of the most sustainable pieces of the farm, to be able to have product year-round. So there's immense challenges, but at the same time there's immense hope and immense possibility that you see from the customer base, from the youth, from just the excitement and the energy around local food, that we just try to focus on the positive sides of the farming life and just keep pushing our message and keep living by our values. Essentially, it comes down to, what do you value? What are you going to dedicate your life and your time to? And we thought farming and providing healthy food for the community is what we want to do.
Growing amazing food and eating that food, I think that's one of the most amazing benefits of being a farmer. I love looking at my daughter and just purple all around because she loves beets. So I think those are amazing things. There was that moment in our lives we became cuckoo. So I came from a business background, Marcos comes from an engineer background, and we're doing this. And I think those are your values as a human.
One friend of mine has become a friend that used to come to the farmer's market all the time, and he'd always get these bunches of our harkuri turnips. This is a white salad Japanese turnip. And he started telling me, my dad's going through chemotherapy right now, and he just can't hold any food down. But for some reason, these turnips, he loves them. They bring him so much happiness, and it's the only thing he can eat and he enjoys right now. And so, that summer, every single Saturday, he was there. As soon as I see him, I'd reach for the turnips. And it was just always my favorite sale of the week was knowing that those turnips are going to go to that purpose. And then one week he came and he just came to the market and kind of shook his head we don't need the turnips anymore. And Ken and I were both there, both of us started crying at the market. We never even met this guy, but that's how connected we were just through a simple thing as turnips. And he still comes back to the market a lot and visits, and we just become friends just through that connection of food. I think that's one of the most powerful examples of what it means to be a farmer and to provide for a community in that way.
I come from a culture that food brings family together. So in this case, the farm is bringing the community together, the families together. We have a lot of cooking demos, so people is here trying to learn. I think we are in that moment where people is kind of trying to go into the other side and stop buying frozen things. I want to cook for my family. I mean, I grew up like that, always together around food. And I think it's something amazing that we are doing in the farm, because you are building that part of the family, that part of the value of the community. So food can bring people together.
It's one of the things that we realize, that as disconnected as our food chain has become, and the same ways a lot of our culture has become kind of disconnected in the same way, where we often don't know our neighbors and we don't know people down the street, and we're all kind of living our own busy lives and our own jobs and TVs, and we kind of lost this sense of identity and the sense of cultural in America. And that's one of the awesome things I see about the local food movement, is it's kind of providing a platform of a kind of a new culture that's kind of taking off, and this really being able to relate to what's growing around you and being able to relate to your neighbors, and sustainable culture that was the basis of America that we've kind of so lost on this kind of global economy, where we're so reliant on what's happening in foreign markets and what's happening in the stock exchange. What if we were just relying on what's happening in our own neighborhood? And I think the food movement is kind of leading that conversation, and a lot of people are on board with that, and it's branching into a lot of bigger pictures for a lot of people. It's not just about food anymore. It's about how do we build our school systems, how do we build our local economies, how do we build our justice system. It's kind of a beautiful path, and one of the reasons our farm branches into so many of these nonprofits around the community, that there's just a huge need for this community building and cultural building within Boulder County and Colorado.
It doesn't matter what you are. You need to try to see for your community in whatever aspect, education, music, art. In our case, it's food. So try to build community through food. I think that's amazing. Another thing is, I always say this, that all people used to say, oh, we need to leave a better world for our kids. But you know what? We need to leave better humans for our world.
So I grew up on the farm, but never realized I was going to become a farmer, and really never realized how much of an impact it was going to have on me, not only as a family member, but also in the spiritual journey in my life. And I had a chance early on to travel to a lot of places and study different religions and really study a lot of things. And I think the farm has helped me kind of bring my attention back in and focus, and I kind of realized how much there is to learn just from a small place, and how the farm has kind of helped me ground myself. And I was always kind of a wandering mind, and I was off in a million different directions. But now at this point in my life where I'm really focused on not just a piece of dirt, but a place and a community that evolves around that, and it brings me enormous amounts of happiness. I love being a farmer, and I love the place I live in. So here we are at the November market, the last farmer's market of the year for Longmont. And we're still harvesting a lot of fresh greens, lettuce, spinach, arugula, fresh turnips, radishes, hansai thai, and then what we have a lot is storage crops, all the storage beets and carrots that'll store all the way into January. The tomatoes, the winter squashes, onions, potatoes. So with the mild fall, we've actually had a pretty abundant November market.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Got my eye on those carrots too.
Well, today we have a $5 pound bag for $9. Could be beets or carrots. Or we have 250 pounds.
Flowering Asian green, really tasty. This is almost like a sweet celery flavor in the roots, a mild mustard here, edible flowers. You can chop it up, saute it all together. I just eat it raw.
Hola, how are you? Good. Nice day today.
It's warming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
How long do you guys think you'll have your farm stand open?
We're gonna be open all the way to the second week of December.
Okay.
Just Sundays from 12 to 4.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Thank you for doing my shopping for me.
Starting a new career as a personal shopper. And we're already planning for next year.